What is going on, fam? Welcome to another great episode of Our Smooth Club, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics. I am Arrington Gavin, and alongside me and my bros, my good friends, I have the founder of Dapper Luke Collection, Mr. Dapper Luke, and founder of Eternal Clothing Brand, Mr. Jonathan Jones. Fellas, how's everybody doing today?
Good, man.
Awesome, man. Ready to kick it off, you know?
Yeah, that's good. Look, you want on a side note, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he, we've all heard the term money doesn't buy you happiness. And he told me, he's like, money doesn't really buy you happiness. You know what I said? Shit. They can take care of some of my issues, which guess what? Will lead to happiness. So I beg to differ, ladies and gentlemen. Money can't, no, I'm joking, but it can definitely help. But that's not my topic. I just felt like bringing that out. But what I want to bring to you guys is I was speaking with Alvin and Cam after one of the recordings that we had, and Alvin had brought up a great topic to bring onto the show, and he was asking me, should politics be allowed in sports? And I thought about it. I personally said yes, and the reason why I'm glad he brought it up because I was actually reading an article about I think he's a current U.S. senator. His name is Tommy Tuberville, and he was a college coach for a football coach for years, and now he's into politics. And he actually brought up he said that athletes shouldn't bring in politics in sports. And to me, I felt like, damn, I'm like, if I was one of your former players, that would kind of hurt because you're kind of saying, look, I'm only good for just playing the sport. I don't have a say. Now, Cam had put out made a good point. He said, athletes shouldn't be obligated to speak on any political things, which I mean, we can all agree with that. But I do think that, at the end of the day, you're entitled for your opinion. If you see something that, not okay when it comes to politics, you should speak on it. Now, I mean, the player or the athlete will know how the outcome will be. Just like I'll speak on Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees had before he had retired, he spoke about, I want to say like kneeling during the flag or something. He had got a lot of backlash from his teammates, and still probably a lot of players probably don't look at him the same way, but they forgave him. He had a great season, so on and so on. So I want to ask you guys: do you think sports should allow politics, in, or do you think it should mesh in a sort of way? Like, what's your thoughts?
So for me, I'll simply say the least vocal sport when it comes to anything politics is baseball, right? And baseball is primarily made up of white men and Hispanic men, right? Whereas the most vocal are the NBA and the NFL, right? So it's kind of to the point you just mentioned a little bit where should they feel obligated to speak, right? Unfortunately, a lot of the issues that are quote unquote political are not really political. They're more racial than political, right? The George Floyd, the killings by the police officers, right? Those are not political topics. They're race topics.
Yes.
And the sports that have the most African-American men are the ones speaking on those topics. Baseball ain't got to speak on it because it doesn't affect baseball. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, and this is what we talked about, previously, is if you have a platform, right? People are going to be listening to you. I'm not saying that you're obligated to, but if you feel comfortable, then do it. You know what I'm saying? Speak on it, speak your mind, but you have that arena, right? And people are going to listen to what you say. Now, yeah, of course, they want you to just play basketball, dunk, just entertain me, right? But as an individual, you still have to get up, look in the mirror, and just kind of ask yourself, with everything going on, did I do what I could to help out with the situation? And that's that. So it's more of an individual thing. I'm not gonna say athletes should be obligated to do it, but if you have the platform and you're comfortable doing it, utilize that platform.
And I like how you brought that example too. I like how you brought that example too because you just brought up statistics. Okay, in baseball, there's predominantly one race here and there. In football, and that's the one that's always getting most of the heat. And the reason why I'll say why I said political too, because you will hear a lot of politicians say, I disagree with what he said, and that's why I brought up as far as and then on top of that, social issues. Sometimes they might have to be involved in the Congress, Senate.
And what's coming up in the election year.
Exactly. So that's why as far as political, but you nailed it around the head as far as it's race. It's
the race
issues
yeah.
that you want.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, they definitely, if you relate to a topic and something that's going on around the world, like how could you not speak about it? Like race stuff, like with politics, I guess what they want to call it, like how they had like the whole Black Lives Matter on like the NBA thing. Like I wouldn't really care if they didn't do it, but like if the NBA players want to have something on their shirt, because you always hear people up in arms about that. It's like, it's for warm-ups. And two, they don't even really show it on TV. And you just want to have something to cry about. It's like they're wearing something on a shirt that they're trying to say. Like that, or like how the football players have like the thing on the back of their helmets, like the sayings, or like that. If they want to do that, then they should feel free. Like they should have been able to do whatever I think that they want. But like there's some things with like the organizations, like after the Derek Chauvin trial, like they put out their statements. It's like, all right, like we know that you're just kind of saying this because you don't want to have any backlash, but like you don't really, like you don't really
kind
care.
of speak on you, like I am kind of sick of people telling us how we can protest and how we can voice ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like if you noticed it, then I've done my job. You know what I'm saying? If it made you feel uncomfortable, then I've done my job. The point of a protest, the point of anything is not to be convenient and hopefully you'll see it at your convenience. It's to put it in front of you, you know, so you think about it like we have to think about it. Like every single Black athlete, right, wrong, or indifferent, anytime something happens to a Black person, they have to speak on it, right? Charles Barkley did an interview. He was like, why does every single time something happens to a Black person, I got to speak on it, right? But yet white commentators don't have to speak on anything that happens to white athletes or white people out in society, but we all have to speak on anything in Black. You know what I'm saying? So if you want us to speak on it, we're going to speak on our terms, not just when you want us to speak on it and when you want us to show it.
Exactly.
You know, if it makes you uncomfortable, that's good. It means that, you know, you understand that there's something not right, you know? So
one big thing is like back when all that stuff was happening last year when they were pausing NBA and stuff, like the NHL, like their players are mostly from Europe. And that was when the NBA stopped, they stopped too, because they're like, look, we don't live here, but there's something serious going on in this country. We need to take the time and like actually understand it. And of course, people like, oh, we want to watch hockey because it takes away, you don't even live in America. And it's just like, well, some people who grew up in a kind of somewhat caring country sees that something is going wrong.
And that's what blows me, because I'm like, I can't stand when, if I bring a conversation, if I pick a conversation with somebody and be like, hey, you check out the game, and say, oh, I stopped watching football because of, you know, they're doing too much.
Too political.
I'm like, oh yeah, no, you can finish your sentence if you want. No, I was pissed. I was pissed because I'm like, so I guess they're just only there to be your entertainment.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I understand, you know, people used to look at athletics as a escape from the outside, but now it's like, dude, stuff changes from time to time, okay? Accept it. Don't criticize and be like, I can't watch any football, I can't watch any basketball because it gets too political. Man, suck one. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous.
Like, how fragile can you be? Honestly, like.
I mean, I laugh at it. I just, all I can do is just laugh, and then, you know, kudos, to Bubba Wallace, man, what he did. I mean, come on.
And people think that they're
Lewis.
People think that they're such patriots for doing stuff like that too, like burning your Nike. Like, oh wow, like thank you.
I'm not going to show any more NBA games until LeBron James is out of the league. You're probably going to go out of business first, right? So, good luck. If you're going to stand on that hill, hey, be ready to die.
You thought we came here for your food? No, no, you got TVs. I'm sorry.
If you're not showing NBA, all right, we're going right next door. You know, like,
man, but guys, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I appreciate your feedback, man. And again, I love having these conversations here on this show. One thing I forgot to mention, y'all, before we go to our commercial break, if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button. Leave a comment, all that great stuff. Also, follow us on all of our the podcast platforms that we're on: Spotify, Apple, Google, all major podcast platforms. We truly appreciate it. We'll be back with our Smooth Club.
Dapper Luke Collection is a full custom clothier located in Virginia Beach. Our goal is to give you a full custom experience. Follow us and schedule your appointment at dapperluke.com. Let us create your perfect custom look for your perfect wedding, prom, graduation, or anniversary.
Ha! Yeah. way these digging talk is irrelevant. I heel kick Troy's Achilles and I shoot like Legolas and fly around Earth on Pegasus. The throne is for the taking, so I'm sending these messages. No belligerent talk, the cup is half full with a measurement. The way I'm work these bars and it's like I had a regimen. The boy rock solid like sediment. 10 years till they see the legacy. I don't like bygones, be bygones, cause by then the time's gone. New to the game like Zion. One push of a button, niggas.
Welcome back, Our Smooth Club, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics. All right, fellas. So I got a question for you guys in regards to making it, right? So what is your opinion of, making it as an individual and also making it as a race? Like, what do you think for us, in your opinion, is making it?
Well, as an individual, I just, definitely success of what my field that I do. I want to see success in that, success as a husband, success as a son, a friend. That's for me, and also just being a good example of someone. If I love to help others in need. That's for one thing that I do enjoy doing. So if I can be of some help and a helping hand for someone in need, that's and I can see them achieve and do well and spread it, then I'm like, okay, I'm doing good now. As far as what was the second one you had?
Like mentioned? So you as an individual and also us as a race, like as African Americans, as blacks, like when have we made it? What is it going to take for us to make it? I'll kind of give you my inputs on that, right? So like you said, for me as an individual, making it for me is I've started a generational wealth step, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't be generational wealth, because it happens over generations, but I want it so that when the next generation, my children, are ready to start a business or begin investing or, kind of ready to make that next step, they're not starting from the beginning. They say in all these rap videos, we got it out the mud and we 10 toes down. Like, that doesn't have to be every generation. You know what I mean? And then as far as a race, for me, it's going to be when we no longer have to rely on other races. When we have that complete circle where the money can rotate within our communities, right? And stay in the community as far as our banks, grocery stores, farms, like it can rotate, right? Now, I'm not saying it has to stay within our community, but I want that option to be out there. Right now, as they say, a dollar gets in the African-American's hand and within, 2 hours, it's out of the community. Right. And then our communities suffer. Right. And those that are in power, or should I say have capital, athletes, rappers, their idea of making it is going out and buying a mansion in some community doesn't really like them, or spending it on a car and being a giant consumer. But they're not putting the money back in the community. They're not starting these farms, insurance companies, grocery stores, things that are going to make the dollar rotate.
That will help the community
within
too.
The community,
within the community, because I know it's not like a personal, like as far as making it for me, but just as for me, if I can see our race making it, it is weird to sound like I don't want to keep on hearing like the first African American, the first. I feel like the more I hear about that, especially like we're in 2021 now, I'm excited, but I'm like, why now? Why late? You know what I mean? Until I stop hearing that, then
I'll tell you another thing, right? We're creating a stigma within the community, right? A child, and I was this child that grows up in the ghetto, has no being of how they got there, but they're there, right? And if everywhere they hear, we got to get out of the ghetto, we got to get out of the hood, then they're going to want to leave because they're like, this is not a good place to be. But we have to change it so that it's not, say, an ideal or it's a stepping stone. If you're here, if you have no choice to be here, it at least, it's some beauty in being there, right? But right now, the whole thing is, the hood is this, the hood is that, so we got to get out the hood. When I make it, I got to get out the hood. Not I'm going to go back and help and change the hood.
Remember
I got to get out the hood. And that child who has, I'm here because my mother or my father's circumstances, I'm here, they may never get out of it. Or they're in this mindset of if I'm here, I'm less than. You know what I mean? And we need to change that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I have seen like on Twitter a lot of people who they're getting what you're saying and like they're kind of trying to buy like the old rundown little
a town in Georgia. Somebody bought a town in Georgia.
Duplexes and stuff, and they're like actually investing in like young people, like probably like early 30s, 40s. So like I think like that's catching on now. So hopefully like the next 10 or 15 years, like you really see some major changes in those type of areas.
I think it will too, because I would say too, JJ, yeah, you made a good point there, because like with the millennial generation, you can't tell us no. You can't tell us like, oh no, try again next time. I mean, if you tell us to do that, we're gonna keep on trying until we hit a step. Because what was it? It was I don't know if it was the exact same story. It was like three women, African American women. I think they bought like a piece of property in this small town. They want to create their own city, like a legit own town. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Because I remember reading a article about Akon. Akon literally creating his own currency in his own like world or something. I forgot what the heck it's called, but he's doing that in his homeland, in his hometown. Senegal, but seeing them do that, I'm like, okay, that's what's up. That is really, really awesome. Now we know it'll probably take a long step, but it's a great, like you said, it's a generation.
You got to start.
That's
it's not going to happen overnight. It may not happen in a generation, but we've got to begin to take the steps.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of these housing projects that we see, like, in New York, the Queensbridge Project, right? That was actually created by LaGuardia, who was the mayor of New York back in like the 1920s, right? And the idea was this was a housing project for the working class white, but it was still the working class, right? Because the working class was in the city. That's where the factories were. And that's where, all right, just small areas they can go back and forth, right? But unfortunately, a lot of those jobs moved out, right? And it became the inner city as we know it. And the jobs were no longer there. We had the war on drugs where drugs won. And it just became not what it was intended for. But again, if we can have jobs in place and I'm not gonna lie, we have to change our mindset as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, not necessarily be comfortable, but kind of be okay with having a job that sustains, right?
Got you.
The community, right? Everyone wants to get a job. They get out of the ghetto and they move on. I got to be a baller. I got to be a lawyer. I got to be a doctor. But we need everyday jobs as well. Store owners, bankers.
It's almost like to the point you don't want them to drive back to where they're from and show them that they got a nice car and then just leave. Be like, how y'all do? Y'all like this? All right, I'm out. Don't touch.
I'm a huge consumer. I got this $500,000 car, but I'm not doing anything to the community that I grew up in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, crazy thing is kind of going back like with the project developments back when is I realized that like there was like racism and like when they were building the projects, like the Black communities, they never built trees there. And so like if you think about it, like your home is more hot or it's gonna be more cold and whatever. So like their bills and stuff were higher. And it's like that they purposely like just would not plant trees in like the Black areas and neighborhoods.
It's sad because you never realize how hard it really was. I mean, again, like I'm speaking as a millennial because I mean, for our ages, like we haven't really read as much history as we
like they don't have yards, so like their value for their home is like nothing.
That's crazy.
It's just a place to go and come.
That's crazy.
But like I said, at the end of the day, I just definitely want to change the mindset of what making it is, right? I think some people have an idea, like you said, we're beginning the process. We've got to continue the process and begin to change what making it is and also our idea of wealth, right? Don't just get wealth and then begin consuming a bunch of stuff. Then you're no longer wealthy. You're just a giant consumer.
Yeah. I think even like personally for me, like on a smaller level is like obviously being able to like provide for your family and stuff, but then just seeing like the kids who you just know, like even like their parents, if they're always at that home thing. They never really experience anything. Like taking that kid, like your son's friend, just somewhere where they can
something
see
different.
Yeah, get out of that environment where they think, oh, this is just like how I like have to live. Like just opening their mind and stuff. I think that could be like one of the biggest steps.
It can. I mean,
definitely,
it really can.
definitely. Well, thanks, fella. Amazing topic. This is the R Smooth Club. We'll see you guys real soon.
Rugged Evolution Beard Care is the hottest new beard care in the market. With 16 amazing scented balms and oils, you can choose which smell you want to try with our new sample balm and oil set, or use the mustache moisturizer and our new leave-in conditioner. Don't forget to add a wooden comb to glide through your beard without snag. Check out our website at ruggedevo.com or call for a private consultation 855-848-3029. And remember, rugged is the new smooth. Check out What's Going On Wednesday, a weekly vlog with co-hosts Arrington Gavin and Jonathan Jones. Hear them speak on topics such as sports, men's health, business, current events, and so much more. You don't want to miss as they tackle a range of funny and serious topics. Catch them every Wednesday on YouTube at Rugged Evo TV. Rugged is the new smooth.
Alrighty, so our guest this evening for the show is Mr. Corian Shaw. He is the chairman of Suited Movement. Good friend of Luke. We're going to be having a discussion with him just on the impact that he's putting on in the community of the 757 Hampton Road. So we'll be back with our Smooth Club.
Buying Prada, Balenciaga like it is nada. In the Ferrari, my favorite's God and tax problems. Pierre Moss, I dropped 10 on my last visit. And half that up in Saks, our favorite black businesses. Sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap and back. People, the highlight was the movie we ain't promised a sequel. Ambition, my second album, How Was You Sleeping? Dropped the album with Seinfeld, they thought I was tweaking. A prophet, a genius. I'm flying with Lena, I'm riding with Nina. One right for the shy, one right where I need her. The funny thing is, I'll always be single. I love me some Logan, I love me some Issa. I'll never get Eva's. Them women is queen.
All right, we are back with our Smooth Club, the show where everyday men discuss everyday topics. And our guest for this evening is Mr. Corian Shaw. He is the chairman of the Suited Movement, 757. He's also a host of a very popular YouTube talk show called Half a Million Show. So my man, Mr. Corian Shaw, welcome.
Yes, thank you, man.
Man, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So look, our good friend over here, Mr. Luke Cassidy, Dapper Luke. You guys work together with the Suited Movement.
That's right.
757. Please speak a little more with the Suited Movement, if you don't mind.
Yeah, as far as you want to get started on how we got started, doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
So basically, try to make it a little quick. We started off, man, just trying to get some guys together in some suits. You know what I mean? Take a couple pictures and do a little walk, not really of a march. And man, just so happened it turned into a march. But at the time that we did it, it was around the time that George Floyd, the whole situation was going down with George Floyd. So man, like I said, man, I sent a couple messages out on Instagram and no response about, taking some pictures in suits and stuff like that to see how guys would respond. And I reached out to a good friend of mine, Shelby, which is a part of Suited Movement. I reached out to Shelby. Shelby was like, look, man, do this. I'm going to put it on Facebook, and I'm going to see what happens. And, man, that was like within a week's time that he put it on Facebook, man. People were responding back. And we met up downtown Norfolk, man, over there the Waterside.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Man.
I remember seeing it on social media, man. All these dudes dressed to a T. I'm like, look at 90-something degree weather too, because I know it's hot out there that first day.
No, it wasn't too bad. It was warm. That wasn't a bad day.
That second one though.
That second one, yeah, that second one we did. But we was in again in Norfolk, and this was when George Floyd. We were specifically marching for George Floyd. We started at the MLK Memorial, and it was really symbolic. And then we kind of marched down to the scope. So the one thing, I'll ask you this, Corian, like you said, your intention was to, get out there and, just get, the brothers out there and like, let's maybe have a photo shoot.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And, of course I kind of have a insight on this, but, from that, it grew.
It did.
Right. And so now that it's grown, like, what is your vision of where this can go and what the goal is right now?
Right now, honestly, it's something that you and I speak on all the time, man. It's changing the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I want it to grow. I want men to know that it's okay to wear a suit. You know what I mean? And to look to par, and like it's something we go by. What is it, man?
Luke to be addressed?
Dress how you want to be addressed. Yes.
Dress like, okay,
Dress how you want to be
Dress
addressed.
how you want
Yes.
to be addressed.
Yeah.
Guys got a couple slogans.
That's trademark. I'm about to write that down.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, Luke. And like you said, like we were speaking earlier, that student movement is not one of them things that we want to keep marching every time something happens.
Correct. Yeah.
We're reaching out now. We're trying to do different events, which is in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are coming. But the main thing right now, we was just focusing on the main foundation.
Correct.
I'm trying to get student movement had to have a foundation. This is why now we have a board.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And Luke is honestly the spokesman for that's a talking man.
Look, you don't need to ask him either. I got it.
Yeah.
So some goals, Luke, to get on what you're saying, where a student movement may go. Right as of right now, I would say it's still in the making. You know
Okay.
what I mean? And I don't want to speak too soon on things, and and it don't happen. But right now, I say we're still in the making because they would tell you I don't make no decisions by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I may be the chairman, the president of student movement, but they know everything.
You got a squad, you got a team.
I run it through them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Just how it
Yeah.
is.
And then on top of that, like you were saying, the main goal of Student Movement 757 is to change the narrative.
That's right.
Like we want to show folks that it's okay, to wear suits. It's this stigma, you only wear suits to church and work. Like, no, that's not what we want. We want to show that, we are a group of professionals, right? But like you said, literally, George Floyd, Donovan Lynch, I'm sorry, the gentleman, Andrew Brown. Like these situations just keep arising.
That's right.
Right. So you have to respond to that because you have the platform.
And that's the crazy thing. I ain't gonna cut you off. That's the crazy thing, because what I was thinking, I'm like, I remember when you had, like you said, your first march. I mean, in a matter of all these marches, it's been like 2-3 months really altogether? Well, at least for
we just hit no, I'm sorry.
It'll be a year in
June.
End of June.
Okay.
It'll be a year in June, but honestly, it felt like they was back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like,
It felt
The two were back to back. The Donovan Lynch and then the Andre Brown. They were back to back.
Mm-hmm.
George Floyd was back last year when that whole thing kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, there's more that they want to do in Student Movement 757. It's not, just wait for something to happen and then let's do a march. That's not the intention.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, COVID environment, everything going on, we still want to be strategic, and ultimately, like you said, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that if we have the platform and there's something going on, we're going to address it. We're going to speak on it, and, to kind of just between me and you, something that conversation we had, when Donovan Lynch first happened, my May schedule was booked, like April and May. But, like he said, we had the conversation. I was like, hey, fellas, don't wait on me. Like, I don't want to be the one that stops it. Like, you have the platform. People are looking at y'all to say something. You got to do something,
You have to.
And whether it be 10 people, whether it be 100 people, if you have the platform, if someone is listening, I mean, you guys were on the news. Like, what was that experience like, being on the news and kind of addressing those topics?
Times, I think a few times.
Man, it's to the point they call me now. News Channel 3, seriously, man. Antoinette, one of the reporters, will call me now. She interviewed you. She asked about you a couple weeks ago. To the point they asked me now, is there anything you guys have going on so we can cover it? And I never thought I would be in front of cameras. I'm in front of cameras.
On serious issues. On serious issues.
And it's I'm learning because in a minute, Luke can tell you, I would throw him to the wolves. If I see a camera,
Luke, they're looking for you.
Right. But it's one of them things that, like Luke said, don't wait on him. And these last couple marches, it's been Corian. And I'm like, man, is this live or what?
Yeah.
But you just gotta accept it, and that just shows the kind of impact you're putting, not just on the community, but abroad, man. Because I mean, again, I mentioned to you off camera, I'm like, I'm proud of you because again, we're close to the same age, man. You're part of the whole movement of changing the narrative on thing, which I mentioned with Luke when we had first started this podcast. I want to help change the narrative. You see a group of guys that are, business owners from all different backgrounds, men of color, all different ages. We speak on everyday discussion that goes on. And you don't see, discussions like we're having right now just about this. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what is in the future. I know I definitely want to come out there and one of your any events that y'all have. I know I was there for a short time when y'all had the toy drive. I mean, again, y'all do so many positive things in the community, which needs to continue to be shown
that was
in the community. Well. Oh, it was awesome too. It was awesome. Yeah. And I mean, Luke, what's your thoughts on just seeing how the growth of the pseudo movement?
I mean, it's necessary. I think it's definitely necessary. One of the things that you normally see is you'll see the athletes out there, you know, whenever they have something going on, you know, you'll occasionally see, you know, rappers and hip hop artists. But again, one of the things that we always discuss is I want folks to see everyday people that care, everyday people. You know, I've told Corey this, you know, numerous times, like, in my opinion, you are very mature, you know, for where you come from. Like, if you would have just asked me just off, I'd have been like, this dude is like in his mid-30s, you know what I'm saying? Just because of the level of, you know, just maturity that you carry around with yourself, you know what I mean? And I told you that from the beginning. And I think that's important, you know, don't wait for someone else to come up and be like, yo, this is the way things should be. You had that vision. And regardless of, you know, your age and what you've been through, and you've been through a lot, and we've had that discussion as well. You know, if you've got that voice and you got that, like, get it out there. Like, you have the platform. You have a platform right now. And it's an amazing platform. Unfortunately, we've had to address a lot of the negative things out there, but there are some positive things we want to do as well. We don't just, like I said, we don't just want to sit there and wait, you know. So I will ask you this, right? So kind of going, you know, next, I guess we're almost halfway through this, you know, year, 2021. Like, you know, what are some of your goals? What are some things that you want to kind of accomplish, you know, with your own, you know, $500,000, the platforms that you have? Like, what are some of your goals and what you want to do?
So this is going to be new to you, Luke. I was going to address it to the organization pretty soon. But as of right now, man, I'm looking to host a festival in Elizabeth City.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Man. Awesome. Yeah.
It's actually going to be, you know, brought to you by $500,000. You know, and I'm gonna kind of have student movement to sister it. You know what I mean? As far as, like, you know, support and to kind of put more exposure on our organization of us trying to do different things. Like I said, this festival will be free.
Okay.
Everybody will get in free.
Did you hear that, y'all?
Free food, free. Yeah.
Free, man. And like I said, I haven't put it out because I'm still working on everything. The city approved it.
Okay, awesome.
I had a meeting with the city, the chief of police, and the directors of the I can't even think of it right now, man. But everyone I had a meeting with they approve and deny everything in the city. They approved everything.
Gotcha.
So it's up to me to put a date on it, and you know, as far as everything else. Because it's gonna be big, man. Sound companies, big stage, lights.
Wow, that's awesome. Man. That's awesome. Well, look, definitely keep us posted, man.
Yeah.
Want to come out.
Awesome.
And I mean, again, just huge congrats, and then huge congrats on your show, $500,000 too. I mean, that's awesome, man. How many? Was it just finished a year? I think I saw you post.
I just hit a year.
It's a year. Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's going good, and I'm not gonna focus too much on that, but that is one of those things where I did that to bring men together because Luke I was talking about things that I dealt with depression and anxiety, those type of things. It's a book I read called Cry Like a Man by Jason Wilson. I talk about it all the time. And it's one of them things that sometimes us as men, we're almost programmed not to show weakness. You know, not to cry, you know what I mean? Not to say when something is wrong, because we always feel like we're complaining. But that's why I started $500,000.
Wow. Yo, look, please come back.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna talk more about that.
Yeah.
We appreciate you just bringing out the time, coming out here to speak on us. Where can we, you know, find you? Give us your plugs and all that stuff.
No problem. On Instagram it's Mr. Corian Shaw. That's MrCorinshaw on Instagram, and on Facebook it's Corian Shaw. On YouTube you can find me at $500,000 Talk Show. $500,000 is with 1 L Talk Show.
Awesome. Well, look, Mr. Corian Shaw, ladies and gentlemen, look, we'll be back with our Smooth Club.
All right, thank you.
All right, it's time for some good bourbon talk, y'all. Okay, Majesty Bourbon, one of my favorites. It's a product of the state of Georgia. Majesty Bourbon, solidly enriched as a premium bourbon choice of the Peach State. An absolute showcase of flavor without a bite, Majesty's 80 proof offering has a medium sweet nose with a light vanilla and caramel notes, finishing just with a hint of wood and spice. The experience is mellow, but not tranquil, providing the finish most bourbon drinkers prefer. Exponentialism is the goal of the Majesty Bourbon team, and with this, they have achieved it. Majesty Bourbon available in all local alcohol stores, ABC stores, anywhere you can find it. Yeah, drink responsibly. Man, well, look, that was an awesome interview with Mr. Coron Shaw. Definitely a bright dude, man, a smart guy. I'm proud of him. I'm excited to see what he has going. I mean, with the Elizabeth City Fest coming on and stuff like that, he's doing a lot of great things in the community.
Paving the way, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, fellas, I want to make a cheers. That's another great episode for us. But I want to make a cheers for just people making a difference in their community. I think it's something that we all need to discuss and definitely make a huge difference. So, cheers to y'all. Y'all have a good one.